Hi all. So I have already finished with the uses and functions of all the four forms of present tense, simple past and past continuous tense. The link will be provided in the description box. Do check it out. And today I'll be proceeding with past perfect tense, when, where, and why, and how to use past perfect tense. I've got 10 rules and diverse examples for you. Do you know what is the nickname of past perfect? The nickname of past perfect? It's called as pluperfect. Past perfect tense is also called as pluperfect. So what is the origin of this word? It comes from Latin. It's a Latin phrase that is plusquam perfectum. Pluperfect means plusquam perfectum. So when translated to English, the meaning becomes more than perfect, more than past. Okay, so pluperfect means more than past. So before I proceed into the uses and functions of past perfect tense, let us just take time to revise the structure or the formula of past perfect tense, and that is subject plus had. It is the past tense form of has and have. Next is PPV, that is past participle of the verb, which is the V3 form, and then comes the object. So what is the structure of this sentence in past perfect? She had written the letter. He had eaten the food. These are the examples of past perfect tense. Now the thing is, for you to know V1, V2 and V3, there are two types of verbs, regular verbs and irregular verbs. Now what are regular verbs? Where the V2 form and the past participle of the verb remain the same. You just need to add ed in regular verbs for V2 and V3 form. But that's not the case with irregular verbs. For example, in regular verbs, V1 is decide, but the V2 and V3 remain the same. Decide, decided, decided. Climb, climbed, climbed. Post, posted, posted. Okay, so in this case, regular verbs follow the normal pattern or the rules of grammar. That is, just add ed to V2 and V3. But irregular verbs, we have previously discussed about irregular verbs in simple past tense. You can check it out. The link is given in the description box. So irregular verbs are of three types or categories. The first type is where V1, V2 and V3 all are the same. Cut, 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 shut, 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 put, 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 bet, bet, bet. The second category of irregular verbs is wherein the V2 and V3 remain the same. They have the same spelling. For example, think, thought, taught, find, found, found. So V2 and V3 remain the same. The third category of irregular verbs is where V1, V2, V3 all have different spellings. That is see, saw, seen, take, took, taken, fly, flew, flown. So if you ask me, how do we know all this? Is there any hard and fast rule? No. It only comes through wide reading, practice, memorization, and familiarization with more and more reading. The more you read, the more you can have a mastery and grip over grammar and tenses. So moving on to the structure of past perfect tense, subject plus had plus past participle of the verb and object. What is past participle? Add ed to simple past and V3. If it's an irregular verb, then you need to know it on your own. So before we proceed with the functions and uses of past perfect tense, we need to just brush up on the formation, on the structure of a sentence in past perfect. Okay, so these are the sentences in first person, second person and third person. Is there anywhere who still has a doubt about what is first person, second person and third person? If there is anyone new, then I would like to explain that first person in the novel or in the writing is something that is narrated or written from the viewpoint of the author or the leading character called as protagonist. Okay, the leading character is called as a protagonist in the novel or in the story. If it is written from the author's viewpoint, if the author is the leading character, or if there is a leading character, the character narrates the story, then it is first person. The third person is a boy or a girl or some people narrates about the protagonist, is the viewpoint of other people, that is third person. Now the second person is you, that the reader itself is assumed as a character, that is second person viewpoint. Okay, so in the first person viewpoint we write I had eaten the cake. So what is the formula of past perfect? Had subject plus had plus PPV and object. We had eaten the cake. This is first person singular pronoun. We is first person plural pronoun. Moving on to the second person narrative voice. You had eaten the cake. So this is subject, this is verb and this is object. And it's the third person singular. He, she, it is third person singular. They is third person plural. He had eaten the cake. She had eaten the cake. It had eaten the cake. They had eaten the cake. So it's the same form of construction, only the pronouns keep changing. While that's not the case with present perfect. In present perfect, has or have keeps on changing as per the singular pronoun or plural pronoun. Okay, so this is it. You need to always keep in mind that if it is past perfect, then it is had plus PPV. If it is present perfect, then it is either has or have plus PPV. Now it's time for us to move on to the uses or functions of past perfect tense. So this is rule number 1 of past perfect tense. Rule number 1 and rule number 2 are extremely important, and together they constitute the base, the pillar, the foundation of past perfect tense. Okay, rule number 1 and rule number 2 are extremely important, and they pave the way for you to understand the rest of the other rules. Okay, so let's read rule number 1. Past perfect is used to describe a past event that happened before another past event. It is used to denote further back in time. It means past perfect tense. So what is the meaning of this definition? Past perfect says that if in a sentence there are two actions or two events taking place, one is in simple past and the other is written in past perfect, and that past perfect is the action or event that took place even before simple past. Past perfect denotes further back in time. It has happened even more earlier than simple past. For instance, simple past comes running to you and says, "Hey, I happened in past." And then past perfect comes running to you and says, "Hey, I happened even before simple past." So this is the order of events in the sentence. Let's proceed. Past perfect is the earlier action and simple past is the later action, which means what is the order of the action? That past perfect tense happens first and simple past happens second, for the second time. The second event or the second action that is taking place is written in simple past, and the earlier event is established in past perfect. Now, if you ask me, what is the necessity of past perfect? It is because of past perfect, the sequence or the order of events is better understood. If we use simple past for both the events, then it creates a doubt, an uncertainty, and a confusion. But if we use past perfect for the earlier action, then both the events become very clearer and specific. Now, you will understand it better when we have a look at the example. Let's look at the examples. So, two actions or two events are taking place. Both actions or events are happening in the past. Then there will be a confusion. Which event happened first and which took place the next? So, to avoid that confusion, we use past perfect for the earlier action, simple past for the next action. Example 1. He had worked in TCS before he shifted to Infosys. He had worked in TCS before he shifted to Infosys. Imagine that your friend comes to your house and he inquires about your husband. He says, "Hey, I heard that your husband, he has worked in TCS and Infosys. I have heard him work in both the companies." And you reply, "Yeah, he had worked in TCS before he shifted to Infosys." So there is no confusion left out here that the action that happened first is TCS. This is event A. This is the first action. And then comes the next action. He shifted to Infosys. You are making it clear that before shifting to Infosys, he had worked in TCS. So one action is in the past and this action, TCS action, happened further before this action. I hope it is clear. Look at the second example. The thief had left when the police arrived. Okay, this is in simple past. This is in past perfect. This is in past perfect. And this is in simple past. The thief had left when the police arrived. Does it mean that the thief left after the police came? No. The first action is even before the arrival of the police, the thief left. This is event A. This is the first action. So we come to know the proper sequence of the event when past perfect is used. In the second example, the second event is when the police arrived, is the second event. The third example, I remember that I had left my bag after I reached home. I remember that I had left my bag only after I reached home. Had left is in past perfect and reached is in simple past. So this clears away all our confusion to which action is taking place at first and for the second time. So here the action that is taking place is I had left out my bag outside, and that realization came upon me only after I reached home. So event A and event B becomes very clear when past perfect is used for the earlier action and simple past is used for the next action. This is example 4 of rule number 1 and it is written in interrogative sentence. Had the bus left before you reached? Okay, so again in this sentence, even though it is interrogative, even though it is a question, two events are taking place. The bus leaving and you reaching. So I am trying to question, I am trying to interrogate, or I am trying to inquire which event actually took place in the first. Okay, so in this interrogative sentence, I am trying to inquire whether the leaving of the bus has taken place in the first. So this is event A and this is event B. So the sequence of events becomes clearer when we use past perfect for the earlier action and simple past for the next action that happens after past perfect. Here there is something important. If there is no sequence, then please do not use past perfect. What does it say? If there is no sequence, do not use past perfect. Where should you use past perfect? Only if there are two actions or events. If there are no multiple events, if there is no sequence, then you should not use past perfect tense. Look at the example here. He had worked in TCS, or he had worked in TCS before. Is this sentence right or wrong? It is wrong. Imagine that your friend comes and asks to you, where did your husband work before? So you say, he had worked in TCS. It is grammatically incorrect. Why is it incorrect? Because there is no sequence of event. This sentence denotes a point of time, a specific point of time. And what is the error in this? You need to say he worked in TCS. If you say he had worked in TCS, it means the one who listens to you is waiting for something. It means the sentence is incomplete and I'm expecting for something to be continued. I hope you're getting it. If you say he had worked in TCS, then it means and then something happened and then he discontinued. I hope you're getting it. This sentence is incomplete. If you use had worked, then it means you are about to continue the sentence. But if you don't continue, then it becomes grammatically wrong. And what is the correct sentence in this? He worked in TCS. Yes, he worked in TCS. So this is rule 2. Past perfect tense is used to denote a specific point in the past. A specific point in the past. Let me make it clear. past perfect is used to denote up to a certain point of time. Up to a certain point of time is denoted by past perfect. Up to means the greatest possible time that is taken or allowed. Up to means the greatest amount or time or level that is granted or permitted or allowed. So what is the second rule says that the past perfect tense denotes the action up to a certain point of time. Let's look at the examples. I had overtaken all my father's business by the age of 18. I had overtaken all my father's business by the age of 18. This is the point of time that is mentioned. Okay, so does it mean that he acquired his business sharp at the age of 18? No. Even before 18 itself, he was involved in the business. He was immersed and he had his hand on all over his dad's business. That at the age of 18, when he finally reached 18, he had succeeded in overtaking all of his dad's business. So whenever this specific point of time is specified, that too in the past, then we use past perfect tense. But the thing is, the action should have taken place much further in time. Second example, she had published her first novel by the age of 30 or at the age of 30. She had published her first novel by the age of 30. This is in past perfect and this is in past perfect. So does it mean that she started writing at the age of 30? No. She took to writing at the age of 30? No. If a novel has to be published, then she would have begun that work years before. Right? She would have worked so laboriously and painstaking efforts she would have taken that at the age of 30, by the age of 30, she had published her first novel. So this is the specific point of time in the past. In the second example, the greatest amount of time that was permitted or taken by her to publish her first novel was 30, the age of 30. Example 3, we had finished climbing stairs before they arrived. This example is the same we saw in rule number 1. This is in past perfect and this is in simple past. So what is the maximum amount of time taken by us to climb the stairs? The time just before they arrived. So here the specific point of time in the past is their arrival. Okay, so past perfect is used to denote a specific point of time in the past. Means what was the time taken by us to finish climbing the stairs? It would have been just moments back before they arrived, but we did it. Okay, we succeeded in climbing the stairs even if it was just few seconds left for their arrival. Going back to example 1 of rule 1, and that is he had worked in TCS before he shifted to Infosys. That sentence also shows a specific point of time in the past, and that is until the time he shifted to Infosys, he had been working in TCS. So more or less rule 1 and rule 2, they are overlapping, they are somewhat together and linked or connected, and they both are equally important. This is rule number 3 of past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is used in conditional sentences to talk about unreal past event and hypothesis. In conditional sentences to talk about unreal past event and hypothesis. Now you may be scratching your head thinking, what is condition? What is hypothesis? What is unreal? Okay. Any sentence that begins with if is a conditional sentence. For more information, a conditional sentence has got two parts, that is a condition and a result. So what does that condition part do? Condition part starts from if. What does it do? It gives us a situation. Okay. Now what does the part of result do is tells us what will happen or what would have happened if this situation occurs. Okay. So conditional sentences are of two parts. One is condition and second is result. So what does a condition do? It gives us a situation. What does the part of result do? It will tell what will happen or what would have happened if this situation occurs. Okay. Now what is hypothesis? It's easy. It's just assumption. Something may happen, something may not happen. Assuming is hypothesis. Okay. Now what is unreal? Opposite of real. Okay. Maybe a dream. Something far away from reality. So what does the definition speak of? It is used in if sentences to talk about unrealistic things, assumptions and hypotheses. Let's proceed on to examples. So these are the examples of conditional sentences. Conditional sentences begin with if and they have a condition and a result. They have a situation and a result. Let's look into the examples. If you had told me, I would have helped you. So this is in past perfect. Second is, if you had completed the work, I would have allowed you to leave. This is in past perfect. Third example is, if I had caught him, past perfect, I would have beaten him. So in all these sentences you can see this is situation or condition, then this is result. And where do we use or where do we place past perfect? In conditions, in situations. If I had caught him red-handed, I would have beaten him black and blue. If you had requested me not to share, I would have not shared the password. Okay. I hope you got it. In such situations, in assumptions, in unrealistic things, in conditional sentences, we use past perfect. Moving on to the next rule. I had already mentioned you few minutes back that rule number 1 and rule number 2 are very important, and you can find them in all the other rules. A pinch of rule number 1 and rule number 2 will be seen in all the other rules, and they are the foundation. So you can see that even in this rule. Rule number 4, past perfect is used in an incomplete action that was not done in a point of time in the past before another simple past action. So what this definition is trying to say is that there are two actions happening in the sentence, in the examples. But one action is in the simple past, but the next action, which is in past perfect, it could not be done. It is left incomplete. It was not done. It could not be done in the past. I hope you are getting it. You can see for yourself in the examples that there are two events or two actions. One action has occurred in the simple past, but the second action, which is in past perfect, remains incomplete. Let's have a look at the examples. Example 1. They left before I had informed them. So this is in simple past and this is in past perfect. Normally we use past perfect with the adverb before. Okay. Second example, it was bad that he passed away before he had transferred his wealth. So one event is in simple past and next event is in past perfect. So I hope you got it. Moving on to rule number 5. So again, I repeat the same thing, that is, you cannot have any rules in past perfect without rule number 1 and rule number 2. They are the base. So here also in examples you can see a pinch of rule 1 and rule 2. Past perfect is used with adverbs. Okay, already, still, just, ever, never. Example 1. I called her, but she had already left. I called her, but by then she had already left. Now, try to recollect rule number 1. What does it say? One action is in simple past. The other action to be in past perfect, it should have occurred further back in time. So here event 1 is she had already left. Second event is I had called her. So you have to think that way. Which is the first event, which is the second event. You need to think of rule 1 and rule 2 whenever you try to solve the exercise. I called her, but she had already left. So this is simple past and this is past perfect. Second example is, and of course this is adverb. Okay, we use these kind of adverbs with past perfect. Now look here, this is the adverb here. They still had not got a seat in the train. Okay, this is a negative sentence. Had got is in past perfect. Okay, it was night time and even then they had not got the seat in the train. So in such sentences with adverbs, we use past perfect. Okay, they still had not credited their salary even at the beginning of the month. Okay, next example is she was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. Ever is an adverb. Had seen is in past perfect. Okay, so you need to memorize these adverbs. Moving on to the next rule. Next is rule number 6. I have grabbed this rule from rule 6 of present perfect. The only difference is that was in present and this is in past perfect. To be precise, the usage of the expression been, has been, have been, had been. In rule 6 of present perfect, I had specified that has been and have been implies location. It is used to emphasize the location. I have been to that place, I have been there. Same way here we use the same but the action takes place in the past. Past perfect tells us how long, and also to emphasize location through the expression had been. Okay, the example one is I had been there. Okay, I had been to that place. BEEN is the past participle of be. I had been there, I had been to that place. It's all about location. Second, I had been in Mumbai for 5 years. Okay, if you want to depict or show how long, then you can use past perfect. How long in the past, okay, not in the present. Yeah, I had been in Mumbai for 5 years. I had stayed in Mumbai for 5 years. I had been. Okay, again, this is past perfect. Next is I had worked there for 3 months. Okay, to depict or denote a time duration with for, we use past perfect. So I hope it's clear. This is past perfect. So this is rule number 7, and comparatively, compared to all other rules, this is quite easier. Past perfect is used in wishes. To be precise, unreal or imaginary things or impossible things, the things which you cannot change anymore. Let's look at the examples. I wish I had taken up that post. So this is in past perfect. So this is just a wish which is not going to be granted or not going to materialize. Okay, not going to happen. I wish I had taken up that post. Already the election is over. The post is already gone to someone else. Now there's nothing, no use sulking. Okay, nothing you can do about it. Second example is I wish I had got the access to the bank. Okay, you are just dreaming for an access to the bank. So it's just a wish and it's not quite possible. This is in past perfect. Third example is I wish I had known her earlier. So where it's a wish, unreal things, more of a dream, far from reality, you can use past perfect. So this is rule number 8, which says past perfect is used in reported speech or reported clause where reporting verb is in past. Okay, so what is a reported speech or a reported clause? I hope you would have heard of direct speech, indirect speech, reported speech, the narrations and all. What is reported speech? Someone saying something to a second person which the third person has said to the first person. A saying about B what C has spoken to A. I reporting about James what Alice has spoken to James. So there are 3 persons, 3 individuals involved. So you have to use past perfect in such speech or clause where the reporting verb is in past tense. This is in past tense. Okay, simple past. James said that. Now your next verb should be in past perfect. Alice had seen the new car. Whenever you report something, then it's done in past perfect where the reporting verb is in past, simple past. James said that Alice had seen the new car. Smith told that he had gone for a quick visit. Smith reported that. So here told is the reporting verb. It is in simple past. Had gone. It is in past perfect. This is rule number 9. Past perfect is used in situations which got changed. Okay? To be precise, in some actions which is already changed and nothing can be done now. Whatever happened has happened, it cannot be undone. There, in such situations, we use past perfect. Example 1, I had planned for a walk. Okay? Just when I planned for a walk, it started raining cats and dogs. It started raining heavily. So I made a remark to my sibling, to my sister, look at the rain. I had planned for a stroll. I had planned for a walk. It's all spoiled now. Okay? In such situations which cannot be undone, which has got changed, we use past perfect. Look at the second example. I had wanted to be a doctor. I had wanted to be a doctor. I had wanted to be a singer. I had wanted this car, not the other one. Your dad brought home an Alto, but you wanted Benz. I had wanted that car. In situations which cannot be changed, which cannot be undone, you can use past perfect. So hope you had a good day. Enjoy your day. Stay updated. Like, share, and subscribe.